Team, welcome back to another GYMLESS program Coaches Rundown. Today's date is Friday, the 10th of April. And today's session is once again a strength bias session. In fact, the stimulus is exactly the same as last week. You're going to be working through EMOMs of 2 different movements, working for 45 seconds with 15 seconds of rest. I want to talk you guys through a few ways that you can progress this week from last week. So first and foremost, the first progression, most simple progression, is that we increase the number of reps we do per 45-second interval. So this is why it's really important you record your reps in our workout tracker. So for example, if you're doing sets of 15 reps for your 1-on-1 quarter squats this week, 16 or more is going to be a progression net. The next way we can seek progression here is by increasing the load that we use. So if you're using a backpack, just by putting a little bit more into that backpack is going to make it more heavy, and then aiming for the same or more reps as last week is going to be a progression too. In terms of the movement demonstrations, I'm just going to revert back to last Friday's movement demo by Tamarind. Have a watch of the video, record your scores, and those who have the time, make sure you do the optional accessory work at the end. Have fun, guys, and happy Easter. The first exercise is a bag 1-on-1 quarter back squat. You're going to place your backpack on your top of your shoulders. From here, you're going to perform a squat. Now, when you get to the bottom, you're going to come up a quarter, down a quarter, and then back up again. Sal's going to show us one more repetition. Fantastic. Bag goes down. If you have a kettlebell, you're just going to load this in your goblet position. Exactly the same. Down to the bottom, quarter up, quarter down, and back up. If you've got a dumbbell, exactly the same. Dumbbell loaded in a goblet position. Down, quarter up, quarter down, and finish. To make this hard for the 45 seconds, minimize how much time you spend in your standing position. As soon as you stand up, go straight into your next rep. The next exercise is a 2-arm supine towel row. Now, we've included a video of how to set this up in your door. Because we don't have a door in the gym today, we're going to demonstrate on a lower pull-up bar. Set your 2 towels up. From here, the deeper you step yourselves under, the more challenging it's going to be. Because it's 45 seconds of work, trust me, you're not going to need to go that low. From here, pull yourself up and control back down. Good. Minimal time spent in the full hang position. As soon as you straighten your arms, you go straight back into your next rep. If you do have a pull-up bar available to you, you can just perform pull-ups here, either strict or kipping variations. Or if you have a low pull-up bar, you can perform an inverted row. We're now talking about our second couplet for today. Your first exercise is going to be a front-loaded bag cyclist squat. Now, a cyclist squat is essentially the same as an air squat. The only difference is we're going to elevate our heels on something. So for here, we have an ab mat, but at home, it can be something like a couple of books, anything which elevates your heels. Now, Sal's going to go to the bottom of the cyclist squat. You're going to notice that the feet are set much narrower than normal. The heel elevation is going to allow us to drive our knees over our toes more. It's going to allow us to really focus on our quads. So Sal's going to stand up and he's going to move continuously through these cyclist squats. Squeeze in the bag, keeping your belly nice and tight. Really focus on driving your knees as far over your toes as possible. The next exercise is a decline push-up. So we have a few progressions for you guys here. First and foremost, you're going to have your knees on a bench, a sofa, or a chair. And you're going to bring your nose to something like a book where you're not going all the way to the floor. But now notice we're maintaining a hollow position to the trunk at all times here. We're not arching to the lower back, but we're not focusing on bringing the chest to floor here. We're focusing on bringing your nose to floor. If you bring in your chest, you're going to lose your position. A progression, you stay in your knees, get rid of the ab mat or get rid of the book. So now we're increasing range of motion, still on your knees. From here, we're going to progress to feet on the bench. Now again, if your feet are on the bench, you can start by going to an ab mat or a book to start. So again, shorten the range of motion. Fantastic. Or we can get rid of that altogether and work all the way to the floor. Now for 45 seconds, this is going to be really tough. So don't be afraid to start on the kneeling variation, even if you're good at this exercise. Moving on to our last couplet for today, your first exercise is a bag loaded step up. Now we advise putting a bag on top of the shoulder here. The step up can be done, of course, if you have a bench or a step at home. Otherwise, a sofa or a chair will do. You know, alternate your legs. Now if you're doing one bag on the shoulder each round, make sure you alternate which shoulder your bag is on. Good. If you have a dumbbell, you have a few options here. You can either load it in a goblet position in front of you and do your step ups here, or you can load it in one arm in a front rack position. Same as a bag, make sure you alternate legs. If you have a kettlebell, exactly the same. We're going to start with a goblet position. And again, you can also place the kettlebell in a front rack position on one side. Our last strength exercise for today is a bag loaded, tall kneeling bicep curl. So rather than using a towel today, you're going to grab your bag and you're going to squeeze each end of the bag. Now just squeezing alone is going to bring tension onto the biceps, and then from your straight arm position, you're just curling up continually for 45 seconds. Really important that when you're going through this movement, you're actually squeezing the bag hard. That's going to get your biceps and your pecs working a lot harder. Now if you have a dumbbell, and just one dumbbell, we advise squeezing each end of the dumbbell, exactly the same we did in the bag. So squeeze that dumbbell, get your pecs and biceps turned on, move through your repetitions. And again, if you have a kettlebell, the same idea, squeeze in on each end of the kettlebell, either this way or with the kettlebell handle facing downwards, and move through your bicep curls. Again, squeezing on the object is going to make your arms and upper body work harder. We're going to be finishing today's workout with a 10-minute grinder piece. The grinder piece meaning we're really focusing on the trunk, slow controlled isometric movements and holds. To start, we're going to do an L-sit. We're going to show you 3 variations of the L-sit. The first one is a straddle leg lift off. So from here, Sad presses into the floor. For 20 seconds, he's lifting his legs as high as he can. He's just going to hold that position. Good. Level 2 is going to move to a chair or a bench, and we're going to do a bent knee L-sit variation. So you lift the butt off the floor and hold. Now, even in this position, Sad can make it harder by extending his legs. Good. And then the full, most challenging progression is on the floor. Hands by your sides, lift and hold. This is going to be the most challenging L-sit. The next movement is a windmill. Now you're going to do a windmill with a bag here. What we're looking at is the arm has to stay straight at all times. Keep your eyes up towards a bag. You can either keep your legs straight or have a slight bend in your knees. Really focusing on the shoulder more than anything here, shoulder and thoracic. If you don't have a bag and you have a kettlebell, we're going to perform the exact same movement here. Over your head, eyes up towards the kettlebell, slide through. If you have a dumbbell, exactly the same thing again. We're going to complete all the reps on one arm, followed by all the reps on the other arm. Beautiful. The last movement in the grinder is going to be a side plank. Now we have some variations. Level 1, which is already very challenging, is just a regular side plank. Level 2 is you're going to bend your top knee and then lift it off as high as you can. So we're bringing the glute into it as well. Level 3 is you're going to straighten that top leg, and that is your full star plank.